Hold on a second. Millions of people have carried a picture of a bridge in their wallet for years, without realizing the bridge wasn't real. You're watching Fact Harbor, and this tiny detail hides a surprisingly clever secret. Think about the last time you used cash. You probably glanced at the numbers, maybe the colors, and that was it. But hidden on Euro banknotes is something strange. Every note features a bridge. Not a king, not a famous building, not a national hero, just a bridge. At first, that seems kind of boring, right? But here's the mystery. Europe is packed with world-famous bridges. So why didn't the designers simply pick real ones? Why invent new bridges when there were already thousands to choose from? And more importantly, why did they go through all that trouble? The answer starts with a problem almost nobody thinks about. Most people assume the bridges represent famous places around Europe. Maybe the designers wanted to celebrate great engineering. Maybe they picked landmarks from different countries. Sounds reasonable. After all, money is usually covered in real people and real places. The United States has presidents. Other countries feature national heroes, monuments, and historical events. That's what money does. It tells a story about who a nation is. So when Europe introduced the euro, you'd expect the same thing. But imagine you're designing money for dozens of countries at once. Which bridge do you choose? And what happens when every country wants its own landmark on the bill? That's where things get messy. Back in the 1990s, Europe was preparing for one of the biggest financial experiments in history, a shared currency. Countries with different languages, cultures, and histories were about to use the same money. The challenge wasn't just creating banknotes, it was creating banknotes that everyone would accept. Picture a meeting room full of representatives from across Europe. If one country's landmark appeared on a note, another country might feel left out. If a famous bridge from France was chosen, what about Germany? What about Italy? Spain? Portugal? Suddenly, a simple design decision becomes a political headache. The designers needed a symbol that belonged to everyone, and that's when they came up with an idea that was almost invisible. The bridges weren't meant to represent specific places at all. They were deliberately designed as fictional structures. The man behind the winning banknote design, Robert Kalina, created bridges inspired by different periods of European architecture: Roman styles, Gothic styles, Renaissance styles, modern styles. They looked real enough that most people assumed they existed somewhere, but they didn't. The bridges symbolize connection between European nations without favoring any single country. Meanwhile, the windows and gateways on the front of the notes symbolized openness and cooperation. It's actually pretty clever when you think about it. Europe solved a political problem by creating landmarks that existed nowhere. Mystery solved, right? Not quite. Because something happened next that nobody expected. Years after the euro entered circulation, a town in the Netherlands noticed something funny. The bridges on the banknotes weren't real. So local officials asked a wild question. What if they made them real? And they did. In the town of Fictional, engineers built colorful bridges based on the fictional designs from the euro banknote. Think about how strange that is. Europe created fake bridges to avoid choosing real landmarks. Then people built the fake bridges in real life. The imaginary structures had escaped the banknotes and entered the physical world. What began as a design compromise had become actual architecture. Not many pieces of artwork can say they accidentally became real. The story is bigger than bridges. It's really about symbols. Sometimes the most powerful symbols aren't tied to one place, one leader, or one country. They're ideas, connection, cooperation, crossing from one side to another. A bridge doesn't just link two riverbanks, it links people. And that was the entire point. So the next time you see a euro banknote, remember this: the bridge you're looking at was created because Europe couldn't agree on a real one. Then, in one of the strangest plot twists money has ever produced, people built the fake bridge anyway. Somewhere out there, a fictional bridge became real because enough humans looked at a piece of paper and thought, yeah, let's build that. And if your wallet has ever accidentally inspired a construction project, subscribe to Fact Harbor. That's a very specific club. Until then, remember that sometimes the most real things in the world start as an idea nobody expected to leave the drawing board.